They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Loan you that college promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet. Eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Friends, welcome to your Easter edition of Rogue Ways. We were going to have such a cool guest tonight. She, of course, just like me, remembered about 2 days ago, oh yeah, it's Easter this Sunday. And for her, that did not work out, actually. So we have rescheduled. She will be back another time. Her name is Tony Baloney, and you may have seen her dancing and bringing awareness through movement to various hot issues in the world. And she will be here, hopefully within the next few weeks, but we'll see. But so tonight, instead, I get to finally bring you another Winningism update, which I love to do, where we look at all of the current events, all of the current news, usually in the technocracy, the techno-dystopia, the globalist agenda, and all kinds of other things. So it doesn't sound like a very happy time, but you know how we do it here. We always manage to bring it back to our own empowerment and what we can do about it. Without being in any way delusional, which is great. That's what we should be doing. And this is a good astrological time for it, actually. Easter also is a very important time to do exactly this. So right now with the full moon in true sidereal astrology, we have little hints of Plutonian energy. So we're looking at what is in our depths, what is in our underbellies, and what is it that we haven't looked at that's maybe been dragging us down into lower states, so that we can use that Virgo energy and organize ourselves to take the steps needed to get back out of that again, and expand it a little bit more with some Neptunian energy. This is the true sidereal astrology's version of the full moon that just occurred yesterday. And then Easter is all about that too, right? Jesus went down into the underworld of death, that Plutonian sort of space. He came back up with that expansion and that Neptunian energy and that beautiful new look at things, as well as the ability to use that Virgo style to get through it all and to know how, and to organize it, to take the steps willingly, intentionally. So I love how those things coincide, and that's what we like to do on the Winningism update. Look at the dark underbelly, come out the other side better than ever. What's up to Dakota in the Rockfin chat? Nice to see you there. We've got some people watching on some of the other platforms today. I hope you had a happy Easter if that's what you celebrate. If you are more into the pagan, possible roots of things, and you're talking about Ishtar and stuff, I hope you also had a good time. I know Ramadan is still going as far as I know, and so happy Ramadan as well if you're continuing your Ramadan fasts and purges, and whatever else might be happening for you today, whether it's just a Sunday that means nothing more than just being a Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, but I hope you've had a fantastic day and weekend. So yeah, I'm really glad to be here with you all on this Sunday, and let's just dive right into it. The pointless question of the episode for you all who are listening out there, no matter when you're listening or watching, no matter where you're listening or watching to this episode, the pointless question for you is, what is your favorite thing, if anything, about Easter? Perhaps it's just that spring renewal energy for you. Perhaps it's something else. My favorite thing, I'll tell you, so far, is I get to hang out with beautiful people and spend time just being together. And that is always one of my favorite things. So I love that about any holiday, whether we care about it or not. I used to be really into the whole fuck Christianity and stuff, and meh, and I'm so over it. I'm like, okay, dude, if you're still stuck on that, I'm very sorry for you, but you don't have to celebrate Christianity to just take the holiday and have some fun. And use it to your advantage, instead of being a weird victim who needs to obsess about shit that's doesn't even affect you anymore. So hopefully you're past that too. So I always like to, of course, bring you a little reminder that the site rogueways.org is here for you. There's so much goodness here. It's a very rich, heavy, deep site. There's probably a lot you've never seen, even if you've been there many times. So I invite you to come visit the site. Most recently, I've made a post about the new shirt designs that I have just put up, so I want to share those with you. They're here for you. You can see some of them as well, like this chicken shirt that says sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. That looks best on a black background, which you can't see here because I didn't actually get the shirts themselves. I'm just showing you the designs. The breathe in, expand, and breathe out and brighten might seem old to you, but actually I have enhanced it and made it even better so that you can put it on even more colors and still have it look good. Even more colors of shirts. The travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Dragon is here. And of course, by popular demand, the World Dragon is now on its own without the winning one, which is, of course, coming from these exact episodes. These winning episodes are what brings us the winning dragon. The World Dragon. So these are the new designs. If you want to click right here from the site, rogueways.org, then you can go to the TeePublic storefront where you can grab any of them on a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a bag, or anything else. See? Look at this chicken. Look at this awesome shirt. I love this one the most. This is Johnny. Of course, Johnny is always my artist. He's my love, and he is gifted. And he just whipped this up because this just is one of our chickens. But I loved it so much, I was like, we need to put that on a shirt. And it has to, of course, say sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Why? Because chickens are good, true, and beautiful. Right now, you may notice this site is having a sale. I am not in control of these prices. I never will be in control of these prices. And these shirts are actually really high quality, and their sweatshirts are too. So if you wanted any of the shirts, this is a great time. This sale goes for another 19 hours only. So depending on when you're listening to or watching this, you may want to just go jump and grab some of these new shirt designs. I love the World Dragon shirt. Of course, like I said, it was on the winning one shirt. That shirt is still available, but if you just like the dragon with the world, you can get that now on anything as well. I like their various styles of shirt they have and the various male and female shirts that they have. They've got a lot of really cool styles that you can choose from and get it on any of those. So super excited about those new designs. Just wanted to make you guys aware of them. And I really like the travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first as well. There's a couple colors that it looks especially good on, including the blues. So anyways, we'll move on from that. I do like to throw it out there that I have a link tree, and that's because I have so many things I do. You can schedule a session with me. You can check out my books, get to the site from there, get all the channels and all the channels on all the different places they are. And I'll admit, I'm not so great at keeping up on my DTube, my BitChute, my Rumble, my Odyssey, and other things, but they do exist. So if you like those platforms, you can grab them. I am more active on Gab right now, as I've been once again kicked off of Facebook for 30 days for literally nothing at all, which I'm sure will probably continue to happen. The Telegram Rogue group and other things are clicked to from here as well. The Linktree is just a great place. All of my referral programs like Phoenix Aurelius's Apothecary and the Chi-O, if you're interested in the Chi-O or any of their products, those referral links are here too if you want to support the show in a way that also gets you access to some of the best quality health support systems that exist. All of it's here, my email, how to donate to the show, just everything. So if you ever wanted to share my stuff with someone, that would also be the best way to do it. Linktree/Lindsay Sharman. And now we'll just get into the show. So, we will also say hello to Logan Yates in the chat. Nice to see you, Logan. Glad you're here, as well as all the people who haven't said hello yet, as well as Johnny. Johnny's the coolest. Sorry, everyone else. Johnny's the best. Yes, he takes the cake. But yes. All right, so we're going to jump into it. So Biden, I mean, if he's even a person, if this weird, doddering, pants-shitting man is even a human being and not like some weird puppet. I guess if he was a puppet or something else that's more like controlled directly, he wouldn't be making all these mistakes. Then again, I'm always a fan of Freeman Fly's theories and ideas. And of course, Freeman, one of the best thinkers of our time, highly underrated, has long been one of the most genius people that exists. And he points out that one of the things that they, the they, which to him is also, by the way, the OTO, not the Freemasons, and he has very good reasoning for that, and I would tend to agree with him. If we had to pick a group, the OTO would be the best to nail down. But anyways, he says, their real plans are to first diminish the ideals and the ideas of America that Americans hold, the pride we have in our nation, the belief that we're the freest, all of these types of things, because our minds are so powerful. If they don't first attack that in us, they can't pull off any of their other shit. So this would be why Biden is both controlled, a puppet, and walking around shitting his pants in public. I think that's always an interesting thing to point out and to take. So this is a little bit fresh. This is from April 11th. And of course, a lot of what I get for a decade or more, at least, activist posts has long been where I get lots of my news, because they are independent media and they're very often trustworthy and do a very good job vetting their sources and all of that kind of stuff. So I like them. You'll notice that lots of the stuff I get is from activist posts. But on Monday, the White House announced a new crackdown on America's Second Amendment rights, entirely bypassing Congress. So again, this is these executive orders, executive decrees that have been more and more popular the further we go in our great experiment that is the United States. And so this decree says people who build their own firearms at home are to be targeted. You're not allowed to build your own firearms at home. There, of course, is no real precedent for this. People may think that there is. I guess there is in like bomb making or other types of things like that. But otherwise, this is brand new. And of course, the 3D printing revolution really is the reason why this has become even possible. Not many people are like forge masters or like have the ability to like bore out their shit. Some people are gunsmiths, maybe who knows what they've been doing. But it's probably beyond most people to build your own gun until 3D printing. And so now suddenly we're saying that this isn't okay. No matter where you stand on this issue, you really want to look at the Second Amendment, right? And you want to look at our rights and the eroding of our rights. But more importantly to me, the ongoing attack on the supposed checks and balances are supposed to go by these executive orders, right? We're supposed to have those, and more we don't. We just have a random dementia-ridden person who just tells us what we can and can't do. That's what worries me more than whether or not people are building their guns in their houses. I don't know what I just clicked on. Oh, just a tweet. I don't care if people build their own guns. I know that a lot of people do, and I understand why. And I'm not opposed to you or your ideas if you think that building guns at home and 3D printed guns are a horrible idea. I understand it. I just personally don't find it to be that much of a threat. I'm much more threatened by the global elite than I am by some random person who may 3D print some guns. I already know. I'm not stupid, and I know that people who would murder or rape or rob or do any of these things at gunpoint, they already probably have illegal guns. So one more method of getting illegal guns isn't going to change anything. Like, they're going to have guns. I'm not too worried about it. I'm much more happy to think that there are people getting guns into their hands that will use them to protect. I know more people have guns in their hands to protect than not. And so I just have never been too worried about the gun issue, personally. But we know also that the government has never really been on our side with this, and that the whole goal is to get us to have less and less ability to take care of ourselves and defend ourselves. So no matter what you think about this specific issue, those are the primary things I'm worried about. And this is, again, yet another step the government is taking unilaterally to take our rights away from us. Again, I always remind you, like, they wouldn't have to work this hard for this long to try to take measly tiny little guns away from us if they weren't scared of us, if we didn't have much more power than we think and than we know. And that's part of how we know we're winning, is that they have to go to these lengths. They have to twist the laws this much. They have to put these people who can barely talk, try to pull off these executive orders in order to try to stop us. They wouldn't do that if they weren't. They definitely don't care about us. We know that for sure. We can prove it over and over and over again. We've got all of this shit going on with our food. This will come back again and again in this presentation tonight about how we're winning. And the FDA has just streamlined the process for gene-edited cattle, allowing them to skirt the regular approval process. So cows will soon be modified. I really have a love affair with cows. I had a cow when I was young. His name was T-Bone. And he was one of my very good friends. He would lick my face, lick my hands, lick my arms. He would play. He would run with us. He would run to meet me when I got off the bus. He was such a good friend. And I just love cows. I just have a connection with them. And Johnny knows, like, cows will make me cry. I saw this video today of cows running out to pasture after being in for the winter. And they're, like, jumping and, like, frolicking. And I'm like, I almost started crying at that because I just love cows so much. I cry when I hear about them escaping the slaughterhouse, those few smart cows that get away from the slaughterhouse. That makes me cry. So anyways, I love cows. Well, the FDA, most of our cattle raising, tactics, let's agree, have been pretty atrocious for some time, and we're going to make it worse by making gene-edited burgers. Gene-edited cattle, I should say. And usually they have to go through a much longer approval process to prove that it's safe, to prove that it's low risk at least, and to do all these things. But they're going to make their coats shorter and slicker so that they can withstand heat stress better, which means they can pack them together tighter in worse and worse conditions, basically. Also allowing them to gain more weight and increase the efficiency of meat production. Just like those fake chickens we hear of that don't even have a head, just have a tube going into their esophagus and like multiple wings, and their feet are growing through the metal and shit. Like, they just want to create things that can be of the most production and the least input as possible without caring at all about the soul or the life of these animals. And it's just going to get worse. And we know, they're also getting sneakier and sneakier at even labeling whether or not something is genetically modified, which is more and more terrifying because, we've got these apples now that are like cold resistant apples because they've got fish genes in them from the Arctic. And so we have these apples that now have fish genes. Who cares if they're nutritious, right? Our nutrition has gone down and down and down over the decades. And yet we just want them to last longer. We want them to be able to put it in freezers or colder and colder places to store them for longer, even though they have very little nutrition. We're not going to use our skills to make them more nutritious for you. No, we're just going to make them more productive. Money, money, money is all that matters. Your health doesn't matter at all. So we're not even getting clear labeling on these things anymore because they've been able to find loopholes and get around that as well. Instead of calling it genetically modified, they have other phrases. I wish I could remember them right now. So you have to be really careful about where you're getting your food. Over and over, it gets harder and harder to trust. So, yes, there's a lot. And who knows what else. We haven't, like we said, tested this long term. We don't actually know. And now they're making it even easier to not test these recombinant gene editing procedures on people. But, we've gone very far with the not testing adequately recently. And people have put some things in them that are very questionable. And so maybe cows are the least of our worries. But I don't like this development. Again, the lengths they have to go to pull it over our heads, to try to get us to look the other way, to try to label it in a way that sounds good to us so that we will take it. That is another aspect of how we win. We are actually smart enough. And this is why they have to work so hard to trick us into eating these things and going along with these things that are not in the best interest of nature, of the cows, or of us. So despite that it is disgusting and not a good trend, it again points to how much we win. We do have a lawsuit filed against the FDA for some GMO salmon-related issues. They're saying, this food safety group, that it is not safe and that the environmental assessment is not appropriate, or that they haven't actually assessed how it affects the environment. One of the ways people are worried about this is that these things get out in the wild and then change forever the development of that specific stock. So whether it's salmon or some kind of wheat or this apple or these cows, how is it going to affect nature? And will we end up doing something that will actually cause the food, because it no longer fits the natural ecosystem, to collapse at some point, right? We don't know. So luckily, some people are able to have their wits about them enough to sue for these types of things. And often they are ruled, in our favor. Like, for example, in 2020, there was a victory, they point out, where the FDA violated core federal environmental laws in approving GE salmon in the first point. And so who knows where we could go from this. And I just hope that we get more and more wins against these people who are doing this. Again, especially in the case that we want them at least clearly labeled. So that is a good thing too. There's a little win. It's not happy what they're doing, but we have some people who are fighting against it. The more we're aware of it, the better. However, the EPA, the FDA, the EPA, all these organizations are so corrupt at this point, and they are planning on approving toxic pesticides that paralyze bees, butterflies, and other insects. And I don't know if people really understand, but these insects, as much as I'm really annoyed by them sometimes and don't like them to fly in my face, and they're like kind of scary sometimes in other ways, I understand that birds eat them, and then things eat birds, and then other things, lizards eat that. Like, they are a part of the food chain for a reason, and when we paralyze them or get shit into their central nervous system that is fucking chemical and nasty, and then other things eat them, then that bioaccumulates, and then eventually we eat something that also has this in it. That's how the food chain works. So when we're poisoning all of these things, we're poisoning ourselves. We know that it is the truth, and we still have these people who want to use this. Again, it's the bottom line, it's the money. And while the EU has often banned many of these things, we haven't here, especially these neonicotinoids, which have long been the problem, especially for bees. When we combine that with the 5G and the EMF, it's like, I sometimes am shocked that any insects exist. But nature is amazing. Nature is resilient, and nature generally comes back no matter what the thing is that we throw at nature that initially fucks it up. So while it is not good that this might continue to be approved by the EPA and used here in the States, again, the awareness is still there. The awareness is still growing, and I trust in nature to eventually bring us back from this. In the meantime, who knows how many people will develop cancer or nerve diseases, degenerative diseases, and all sorts of other things because of what is bioaccumulating in our food supply. So moving on to some things that will probably get me banned from YouTube, which means despite that Chris, Sean, and some other people are watching over there, I will have to turn off the feed there so this channel doesn't get canceled. If you'd like to join us on Rockfin, it is free, and you can click right below you and join the chat over there. And otherwise, I will see you another time. Goodbye, YouTube.